Welcome RHWB runners to yet another episode of Reflections, which is our podcast series. So we do this during the season almost every week. We try to release an episode, and this is basically for the runners by the runners, right? So we bring in typically runners who have been in the past seasons and who have had great experience through their journey, and they share their lessons and their stories which all of us as a part of the broader RHWB community can learn from. And this is something that we've been doing since the first season, and this is really popular in terms of folks learning from each other and also giving certain insights that has resulted in me adding more features to our running program. Those of you who don't know me, I'm G.V.Ganesh. I'm a part of RHWB since season 4, and I love these t-shirts that RHWB we make as a part of every season. If you didn't know, we used to make these t-shirts on different IPL teams' colors, and this one is my favorite t-shirt, and no points for guessing which particular IPL team I support. Jokes apart, right? Have today my two very special guests, and there is something which is common to them. One, of course, they are junior runners and they are the future of RHWB, and they also won very special awards last season. As many of you might know, there are 3 pillars of characteristics that we highly value in RHWB, which are resilience, commitment, and having fun through the process. So the runners here today are those who actually won those awards last season. So without taking any more time, I'm going to pass it on to my runners and welcome them to give them a chance to introduce themselves and tell us how they got into running. Let's start with Navyata.
Okay, so I got into running because my dad is a runner. Ever since I saw him run a lot, he gave me the motivation to run as well. And then he also joined this amazing group, so I decided to join along with him after a season.
That's been your journey of how you got into running. But tell us a bit about yourself, Navyata.
Okay, so my name is Navyata Arnav. I am currently in 7th grade. I live in Edison, and a few more things are that I did cross country last year.
Okay, so you did cross country last year in your high school before you joined RHWB.
Yeah, in middle school, 6th grade.
Okay, wonderful. So that's good to know. And what are your extracurricular activities? I'm sure you do other things than running and studying in school. What else do you do?
Yeah, I do violin. I've been doing it for the past 4 to 5 years, and currently I'm in the finals of violin in a competition.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about it. And this is something really special. First, congratulations, Navyata, but tell us a bit more about your competition that you've been selected to for the finals.
Thank you. It's been I have worked a lot on the competition, first of all. I've been practicing every day with the group I'm doing it with, and it started like a month or 2 back. We got through semifinals, quarterfinals, and now the finals are coming up next week soon. So yeah.
Great. Good luck with your finals, and I'm sure you'll do great. I know you have won the award for the resilience pillar last season, but just going by what you're saying, I'm sure the commitment pillar award is just around the corner for you. Thanks for making the time, Navyata, and great to have you in the podcast.
Thank you.
Great. Let's go to the next runner, Arnav.
Yeah, so my name's Arnav Singh. I'm 15 years old now. I'm in 10th grade. I go to J.P. Stevens High School in Edison. And yeah, so one thing about me is that I ran a marathon last season, and I got the commitment pillar for that. So yeah.
Great. Wonderful, Arnav. So which grade are you in?
10th.
You are in the 10th grade? Okay, that's awesome. So yeah, tell us a bit more about what you do. You said you ran a full marathon as a 10th grader already?
I was in 9th grade at the time, but yeah.
Okay, that's amazing, right? We don't have too many 9th graders who do full marathon. I'm sure you're one among the very few in your class.
Yeah, I haven't seen many, so yeah, I think I am.
That's, again, hearty congratulations for first taking it up as a challenge and going through it. Because I do remember the race day post of you finishing, and it was really a lot of fun, and it was a very special moment for you and your family and all the coaches out there on the RHWB race day. So congratulations. Yeah. So what else do you do outside of running and I'm sure academic?
So yeah, outside of running, so a sport that really this summer I've really picked up was golf. I haven't been playing it for too long, just a few months, but it's really become a big passion for me been playing it every day since almost. So yeah, it's one of my really big passions.
Okay, that's great to know. Golf, again, too many high schoolers don't play the sport. It's interesting that you picked that up as well. If you didn't know, in the RHW community, there are folks who play that very regularly, and there is person who coaches young golfers or even aspiring adult golfers as well. So, in case you want to take advantage, I'm sure you have your own coaching process, but in case you want to take advantage of that, you can.
Yeah, my dad is one of the people who plays, so I know most of those people.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Then again, New Jersey, I'm sure the ecosystem is great.
yeah, we're pretty close all together. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And how did you get into running, Arnav?
So I got into running because in middle school I saw a lot of my friends picking a sport up, and I hadn't really so it was fall and soccer wasn't a sport that I played much in the past, and so the only other option was cross country. So I decided to try out for that team, and originally I didn't make it in sixth grade. So then over the summer I decided that I wanted to practice running and get better at it. So eventually my dad met Coach Bala, and then he told me that he had a running, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty interested in that. So I joined, and then I did my first 10K, and then eventually I did a half marathon, and another one, and then a marathon. So
Awesome. So you've been with RSWB for about 4 seasons now?
4 seasons now. This is my fifth.
That's amazing, right? I think actually going through it during high school is always a challenge because there are too many priorities that you all deal with. So it's commendable that you've been able to stick to it and kind of enjoy the experience. So let me talk a bit about this, right? So again, building on this, as you signed up for the season and then you started training, right? And then how was your training like, right? In terms of the various types of runs that you were doing and how did you kind of manage and prioritize based on your time, other time commitments?
I think I really managed my time because it was really just about like coming back from school, and I think it really helped me in a way because it helped me not procrastinate because at that point I didn't have too much time on my hands. So the second I got back from school, I had to finish my work, so then I had the time to run and then enjoy. So I feel like that really helped me fix my schedule and stop procrastinating, and then that really helped me manage my time because I got to weekends when I was free. I would go, and then there's a 1 mile stretch by my house. I just did, if it was I think for my 17-mile run, I think I just did that 17 times. Or if there's a place in Metuchen that I would go to, it's a trail. So yeah, that's how I would run.
It's very interesting. See, one of the biggest challenges, like you mentioned, with most people when we try to schedule this in our days is time management, right? And being able to commit to this, right? It's always so many things come into a busy day, and then there is enough and more reasons not to do it. And then I think what you've been able to do is prioritize it and put it in there and actually stick to it. I think that's a great lesson for all of us because it's not about junior or adult runners. I know many adult runners, including myself, many a time struggle to make sure it happens. While the intention is there, but the fact that you put it in the plan and actually stuck to it, I think that is very commendable, Arnav, right? This is going to stick with me. This 1 mile times 17 times. So it's a great example of your commitment as well. It gets so boring, correct? As they say, the toughest thing to do is running in a treadmill, right? Because it can get very boring. But you've endured through that process of doing it multiple times and the repetitive nature of it, but still stuck to your goal of doing those 17 miles. That's special. So congrats on that one. How about you, Navya?
Every time, whenever I'm school, I always like try to do my running before school, so like I have time in the day to also like do my work. But like I also enjoy doing my running before school because like it's in the morning, and after like running, I always feel fresh, like ready for the day.
So you are a morning runner, whereas Arnav finishes his work and then he goes for his runs. It's interesting that our preferences, but you also are a busy violin player and you also are a part of a band. You told me that you do trumpet as well, but you are able to still do early in the morning and take care of it before all those activities started.
Mostly I do it, but if I really have a lot of work, I do that first. But like I do have like I always try to finish my work first, but then and then I do running before. But like there are a few days where I do my work first, and then in the evening, if I find time, I always try to run.
Okay, so you try to make it happen for sure, right? Between the priorities that you have. That's awesome. So who are your coaches? And how was the experience of interacting with a coach in RHWB? Maybe this time we'll start with Navyata.
Yeah, my coach is Coach Arati. She is a
Okay.
very she's very kind person, and whenever I get off track sometimes she helps me get back on track, and if I ever need help with running or she understands how to help me in ways.
I think the backbone of what RHWB is are these coaches and volunteers who spend so much of their time in training each one of us who run. So good to know that you had a great experience there and she was able to help you through the process. How about you, Arnav?
Yeah, so I have Coach Abhishek. If you don't mind, I have a really funny story about how I met him.
Yes, yes,
So
please.
it was the second half marathon I was running, and what happened was, I was, I believe it was right behind halfway through. I think I was at the 6 mile mark, and I was running, and I heard footsteps behind me, so I knew they were approaching. So I started to run a little faster because I just have a naturally competitive nature. And then I hear them coming, and I keep running faster. Then he's like, "Hey!" So then I turn around, and then he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I'm like, "Oh, Arnav." And he's like, "I'm a coach. Don't worry. I'm not trying to beat you. I'm trying to help everyone here." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And then so I asked him a little bit about himself, and he said his fastest half marathon was like a 1:30 something, and I was like, "Oh my god." And then I asked him, "Could you help me do a sub 2?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So then he actually ran the rest of the half marathon with me and helped me cross the line in under 2 hours, which was just something amazing for me. So then the next season I took him, he helped me. He was just so much help in doing my marathon, and without him and his recommendations.
Great story. That's awesome. See, I think the way I see this is, of course, Coach Abhishek is amazing. I mean, he's a good friend. He lives here in Houston. We have run multiple runs together. So again, his ability to not only run really well, but also train and inspire people around him is great. Thanks, Coach Abhishek. But if you think about it, it's your competitive nature of trying to push the person or push ahead when the person was close kind of triggered that process. But glad that you reached out and kind of asked him for that help, because unless you kind of ask, sometimes we miss this opportunity, right? And I think that had its own life along the way in terms of how now he not only helped you finish that half marathon sub 2, but now your full marathon experience was great with him. I think one of the lessons we all learn is through this, I'm just in terms of simple interactions, but it's about being in the moment and taking the opportunity to interact and have those conversations with folks and learn from that, if you may, right? I think fascinating story. So as we all do running, I think, like I said, we talked about time management. It helps you in doing that, and I'm assuming that it helps you in your day-to-day beyond running as well. But there are other activities that you do in your schedule across the board, whether it's sports or anything else. Share your thoughts on whether it has helped you or not helped you in other phases of your life.
Should I start?
Yeah, you can start with Arnav this time.
Okay, yeah. So, like I was talking about before golf, more than physical, I believe golf is a very mental game. I feel like running is kind of a mix of both the physical and mental thing, because as physically demanding it is, it's equally as mentally demanding. Because when you're running a marathon and you hit that 20 mile mark, I feel like from my experience, so many people told me, "Oh, once you hit 20 miles, it's gonna be really bad." I just didn't think so. When I hit 20 miles, that was the first time in the race I started cramping this, and a lot of stuff started happening. And I think it was a mental block, and that's not something people can really tell you, because it was told to me, but I didn't really believe it. So I feel like that's something you kind of have to go through and keep pushing through once you're there. And I feel like that's very similar to golf, as when you have one bad hole or one bad shot, you have to keep going, stop, and finish your round.
Great parallel that you're drawing here, right? And I think what it also teaches you, like you just said, it's about being in the moment, right? It's about saying that, look, you had a bad shot, or you are feeling some kind of difficulty while you are running, but then you're saying, hey, just that moment or that one shot, but you have the rest of the time to go and take care of things, right? I'll just share a story. I just was on a conference last week, and I don't know whether you guys know, there's a tennis player called Martina Navratilova. She is an icon in tennis. She has won some 57 Grand Slams of singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. And one of the audience, after she spoke, asked the question, hey, I do the first set very well, and then it comes down from the second set onwards, my performance goes down, and I get mad about it, and it further goes down. And to which her answer was, look, you know what? It is ultimately one shot that we do badly or the opponent does really well. And then we kind of completely keep thinking about it. And then the next few miles or the few shots or the few games you lose. Right? So her advice was that you just have to be able to be in the moment and move forward. So to your point, in terms of golf, yeah, you have a bad shot, but that is one shot. You have the rest of the course to take care of. That requires that mental focus or the mental strength to be able to come across and take care of it, right? And I think that's a interesting analogy that you drove. And again, like you said, any amount of coaching cannot prepare you for going through that moment when you hit the 20-mile mark, right? Thanks for that, Navyata Arnav. That's really good. What about you, Navya? How did your running experience impact anything else?
So like as you guys know, like my violin and my competitions, after like I go to like my teacher's house for violin almost like every day due to the finals, right? And like apart from that, like always like my mind is on like violin or school, something like that, right? And then running helps me like take it slowly and like it doesn't make me stressed like a lot. Like it doesn't like make me worry. It helps me like ease like the process of everything.
So it really helps you relax among the multiple other priorities you have. That's what you feel. Okay, that's awesome. And do you like running alone, or you run as a group, or what types of runs you do?
I just really run by myself because if I like run with other people, they're either like always like behind me or always in front of me. It's like one or the other. So I like enjoy like running by myself really.
Running by yourself. Okay, great. No, that's nice. I think one of the things we say as individuals, we all struggle to find time for ourselves because we are all so busy, right, in doing our own things, either at work or as children going to school, right? But this really gives us our me time, right? This is the time you are by yourself. You can listen to something or you can just think, which many a times you don't take enough time to do that, right? Of a problem that's probably bothering you. And I can tell you for myself, in many of my long runs, I've actually solved problems that's kind of bothering me either at work or something at home. And so I like you, I enjoy running alone rather than running in a big group, right? So that's interesting. I love my me time as well. So you started, was there anything difficult about your running? And I know you got the commitment and the resilience, so you had some challenges along the way, each of you, or were you anything specific you can share and how you overcame that, right, in your journey, if you may. And maybe I can start with Navya.
Yeah, so basically last season I had like a challenge, like one of my really close, like my mom passed away. So like because of like that I couldn't really like run a lot. And like there's like a lot of things I had to do. But like when it came to the race day, like I really just pushed through and I tried to like finish the race.
That's amazing, Navya, right? I think that's, again, I'm sorry for your loss. But having said that, your ability to be resilient and still come back and train and push through your race day is really commendable, right? And I'm really inspiring to see that you've been able to do that. So tell a bit more about your race day, Navya, right? So you had your 10K planned. Did it go as per your plan? Was it very different and you had to manage something during the race day?
It was a bit different, but like in the beginning of the race, like the 10K, like it was like going as usual, but like towards the end, it felt like it became a bit challenging because I didn't like do like all the training I did. Like I had to do, and then so like it became challenging. But like with my dad, like my dad kept running, and I just like kind of didn't want to stop and like give up or do any of that stuff. So I just like try to like finish it.
Okay, great. How much ever we train and we plan for a race day, more often than not, the entire distance doesn't go as per plan. And we have to be resilient during the course of the race as well to take care of those situations. And that's kind of what I was trying to do. And I'm sure, like you explained, you had a few of those moments and you were able to kind of take care of those. Of course, your dad was running next to you, it seems. So that was something that would have been good as well. Great. That's good to know that. How about you, Arnav?
Yeah, so
How was your race day experience? Yeah, and tell us a bit about how you planned about it as well, because this was your first full marathon and how it turned out to be.
Yeah, so I planned. It was really interesting actually because I didn't do like a real marathon, like not in the sense of distance, but in the sense of a fully organized, like proper like Jersey City or something like that. I did it the RHW race day, so I was the first one there and last one to finish. because no one else did a marathon there. So, but it was really like cool because I had like I think 3 pacers, not pacers, but people just there to support me, running with me at all times. They were switching out people, and it was yeah, and they were either talking, saying stories to get my mind off the running, or they stopped when I stopped, gave me water, told me how to like fix my cramps, and went when I went. They went with my pace, never complained, and it was just amazing. Really, it was the race day experience. And obviously at the end, having everyone cheering was great.
Oh yeah, I did see that video. I do remember that you finishing and all the coaches and all the volunteers doing that as a 14-year-old doing a full marathon. That is really, really special. I can tell you that much. But yeah, good that at least, but for hitting your 20-mile and seeing some things slightly become harder, but most things seem to have gone as per plan for you on the race day.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, juniors, and again, as many of you might know, and those who don't know, RHWB started with 10 third graders to 5th graders being trained for RHWB. So, season 1 was that. So, RHWB was happened because of junior runners like you. Of course, then it branched off and it's really huge now. So, one of our goal is to get more junior runners to be a part of this, experience it, contribute it, and take this forward. So, as junior runners who have experienced this, and I'm sure you have friends around and whatever, like, what are your thoughts on how we can co-opt more runners into this in the spectrum of schools, if you may, like from even elementary to middle to high school along the way? What are your thoughts? Anything that we can do to do more of getting more junior runners into the mix? Yeah, Arnav, we can start with you this time. Yeah.
So I think a big thing now is social media. I know you guys are pretty active on YouTube and stuff, but I feel like TikTok is one of the biggest things. I'm not sure if you guys have that, but I feel like if people see that pop up on their feeds, they might be interested. Or going directly through schools and maybe their cross-country teams. And if you either ask the schools to tell the coaches about it so they can advertise it, or maybe just telling the schools to put up flyers or something, I feel like that could be a big help, especially with the cross-country team, because people are looking to run outside of the season.
So what you're suggesting is reaching out to schools through the cross-country teams, if you may. Of course, the cross-country runners, they have their own training, but they can do this as well, right? Yeah. And then try this out.
I feel like mainly because the school seasons are pretty short, like 2 months around, so a lot of them might be wanting to run outside of school, so I think this would be a really nice opportunity.
That's good, right? And I think what RHWB excels in is actually having non-runners try out running, right? So because runners by themselves, yes, we can certainly do that. And I think the non-runners are the ones, oh yeah, this is too difficult, too boring kind of mindset. And they try this out and they just enjoy the experience and kind of do that. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We should do that. What about you, Navyata? What do you think?
I think we should maybe just publicly us tell our friends kind of spread the word. You could also I don't know like he was saying put it into social medias or kind of if you know people that already run, you could make them help make them spread it to their friends and make them have some motivation, something to work for.
Got it. We can reach out to them and we can give them certain challenges that they want to work towards, if you may. So yeah, I'm just going to surprise you a bit. So tell me, I know you've done this 5 seasons or 4 seasons. I know this is a 5th season, and now you've done a couple of seasons. So tell me one special moment. I know you did mention a funny moment with Coach Abhishek, but any one special moment that rings a bell for you during the course of these 2 seasons around running, either at home or with a coach, or anything that you want to share? I know I'm kind of catching you guys a bit off guard here, but anything that stands out in your mind? Again, no specific order. Either of you can go first.
So, I have 2 if you don't mind, because
more the merrier, Arnav.
I feel like nothing can really, no matter what, I feel like nothing can really beat finishing of that marathon, just sprinting at the end, seeing everyone cheer. But since I've already talked about that, I'll talk about something else. I think one thing that was organized by RHWB was we went on an Istanbul vacation, and I feel like that was super fun. It was we played a lot of games, we went to a lot of cool places, got to walk around. It was just super fun. That was one experience that I'll never forget. But obviously the marathon will top everything. So.
Of course, and I'm sure the first race you finish, and especially a full marathon, that moment is going to stay with you forever. But thanks for sharing the other one. And I think RHWB, the beauty is that we take, thanks to Coach Bala's inspiration, different ideas and actually execute to that very quickly. And for all the runners, we are planning to do our first RHWB rendezvous this year on October 3rd to 5th. So this is a weekend getaway for us to just spend time together and have some fun. And we just it's just next weekend actually as we speak. And so this will be a bit of a rolling cup with 4 teams competing for a few friendly games out there on a day. Well, that is just a motivation to have some slightly competitive fun. But the intent here is to do a getaway and have some fun together in off New Jersey. It's in a couple of hours away from New Jersey. The point I'm trying to make is, like the RSWB vacations, this rendezvous is one more idea that was brought up, but I think what differentiates us, I believe, is the fact that we execute on these ideas really efficiently. So looking forward to that. But glad that you're able to have that experience on the vacations as well. What about you, Navya? Anything that you would like to share about your special moments?
So my first 10K was like, I was going to do a 5K that day. And then my dad was going to do a 10K. And obviously I always like to run by him. And I was going to do a 5K, but like as time came, I was like supposed to go back, right? For like my 5K. I just like kind of like ran with him without knowing, or like I just like ran with him. And like he gave me an option like if I want to go back, like do my 5K instead of like a 10K, because I never like even like attempted or trained for a 10K. But like a good moment for me is when I just like ran with it. I came back. I didn't really stress about it, or like it wasn't too hard for me. So that was like a good moment for me.
That's really interesting. So because again, if you just go back, I think you go with the flow, you stay in the moment, right? And then you just didn't get perturbed by the difference, right? So what? I mean, as long as I can do it, I'm just going to give it a shot rather than say, no, I don't want to do that kind of a scenario, if you may. I think being open to these experiences, I think that makes it very interesting. Thanks for sharing that story, Navya. So I'm going to kind of bring this home with a couple of very pointed inputs from you both. So there are many first-time junior runners in our cohort this year. You've been, again, Arnav, you've done this 4 seasons and a couple of seasons for you, Navya. What would be your advice for them so that some of them are finishing their summer season, some of them are in the fall season, so they could be in the middle of their season training. So please share your thoughts on what would you advise them as part of both training and the race day experience.
I think like whenever you like, I know like you always like think about like running, like sometimes you don't want to do it, but like you should probably like work like towards it. Like if you don't feel like doing it, then like I would say just like still like do the run, like, because like after the run you're gonna feel like way more like energized and better. Like you might feel lazy, but like when you actually like do the run and get towards it, you won't even know how good it feels to be done with the run, kind of.
Okay, interesting. Good to know that. So yeah, I think not thinking too much and actually following through the training, that just helps, right? I think like what you just said, just do it. That makes it really simple and interesting. So thanks for sharing that, Navya. What about you, Arnav?
Yeah, so I'd say with firstly to start off, don't bite off more than you can chew. Meaning, don't look at the distances and be like, oh yeah, I can just do a marathon. It's like I'll train for it, right? Just I think start small. Start with the 5K or 10K. Even though at the start you might think, oh, these runs are really easy. Trust me, it ramps up pretty quick. And when you get to that peak, it gets really hard. I'd also say that you just have to keep going and do your strength trainings, because those are really important. Even though they might not seem to be as important as the runs, they are. And always just keep running, keep doing all of your runs, because the consistency will really show over time, even though you don't always get immediate results.
Great points. I think I picked 3 things there from what you just said. So one is consistency, keep doing it. Doesn't matter you feel whether results are coming or not, it does come over a period of time. 2, strength training. I know all of us focus on the running part of it, but strength training is extremely important, right? Because that actually helps you in the later part of the season, right? When you get the longer the distances and how long it takes to execute and so on. And then is showing up every day, right? And doing that as to what is expected of you without thinking too hard about it, right? It could be boring, it could be not fun on a given day. Just wear your shoes, and step out and do 1 mile. And many times I do that actually. I just say, hey, I don't feel like running, but I'll do 1 mile, and at the end of it, I still don't feel like it, I'll turn back. But it never happens. By the time you finish a mile, you're already in the groove and just you keep going. Thank you so much, Navyata Arnav, for taking the time and sharing your perspectives on your journey. And I'm glad to know that your journey has just started. You are great ambassadors for RHWB among the juniors community. So I first wish you very best for the pursuits that you are having outside of running. Also, please continue to encourage children and your friends and in your ecosystem to take up, if not running, a sport, so that really helps them with either relaxing or helping them with other activities that they are doing. Before we finally wrap up, I just have a quick rapid fire questions for both of you. I'll start with Arnav, just 2 questions. Half marathon or full marathon? Full marathon, okay. Running or Instagram?
Running.
Got it, thank you.
I'll explain my answer just really quick.
Sure.
I would pick the feeling of feeling and actually running a marathon over that, but the actual work you have to put in, it's a lot. So I'd say obviously a half marathon because everyone, I like it easier, everyone likes it easier. But the feeling after finishing the marathon is just unmatched. And I'm not really a big social media person, so Instagram, I don't even think I even have an account. So running is just my natural high. I don't get.
Glad to know that, and I think that's another thing you stand out. So you should influence your environment to adopt some of your ideas, if you may. Thanks for sharing that story. And Navya, I had a couple for you as well. Okay, running or trumpet?
Probably running.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Again, I know it's not probably a fair question. Probably you love both of them, but I just thought I'll just throw it out there.
Trumpet's really hard for me, honestly. That's why. And
Okay.
running suits.
Wonderful. And conversational pace or strides?
I think I'd prefer conversational pace because you just kind of run with the flow where you feel comfortable, and if you pick it up, you kind of just pick it up.
Sure. Wonderful. Yeah. And again, you did mention that you like to relax while running. So certainly you don't want to be watching your watch or phone every 0.2 miles and kind of trying to keep up the pace up and down kind of a thing. That's probably your experience. But again, thank you both so much for taking the time and talking to us about your experiences. It's really, really special. Learned a lot from your experiences and looking forward to your journey and subsequent podcasts that you can be a part of. Good luck
Thank you.
and enjoy the season and your runs as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.